Hi, I'm Steffanie Bullis. I'm the wife of Todd Bullis. He's well known in Little Elm, infamously well known. I feel like God has brought me a long way, and I want to share with everybody where I am today and what he's been working on in our family. So when Todd and I got married, it was we loved God, we wanted to go to church, but we weren't 100% doing what God wanted us to do. So at some point in our marriage, within a year and a half, we decided, you know what, we're going to go to church, we're going to follow God, we're going to do what he says. And I said, great, I have a young daughter, Todd has 2 young sons, we can raise our kids up in the church. I went to church, he went to church, this would be great. Found a good church, we got involved. We got into kids ministry, Todd got into counseling, we started helping other couples with their marriages, and everything was going good. You know, we thought we'd do our thing on Sunday, we have family time, we do things on Wednesday night, typical church goer. That went on for quite a few years, and I was happy with that. I felt like I'm doing what God wants me to do. One day, Todd either called me at work or told me when I got home that God had talked to him that day, and that God told him to go talk to this guy on a park bench because God wanted to talk to him. And it turned out that that was true. God completely helped this guy through Todd. You know, I at first thought that's just a coincidence, things don't happen like that, because I full-heartedly didn't understand God. And at that point I just thought, well, that's good, it's good, you know, and we'll keep moving on. Well, time kept going on, and we kept going to church and doing things, but as God started to talk more and more with Todd, he would share with me all the things that he had our family doing, he had Todd doing, and I would end up tuning out. I would end up feeling like other things are becoming more important, and so I felt God was just telling me, just be supportive. You're still going to church, you're still doing the things that you feel, just be supportive, Todd. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. And so we kept going, and my daughter was in cheer practice, and Todd would have to take her often to cheer, and he would have to drive past a Planned Parenthood. And he can tell the story better than anything, but I want to tell it from my perspective. And that is my husband coming home to me and saying, after every time I drop off Taylor, God's calling me over to the Planned Parenthood because babies are being killed there. And my first response is, yep, they are, it sucks, that's bad, you know. And then he says, I have to go stand out there. I was like, okay, you can go stand out there. You know, and all this time was, I'm just going to be supportive. I'm the wife that needs to be supportive. Just be supportive. And it was fine at that time, but it kept getting more and more and more, a little, in my mind, more aggressive, more out in your face. So Todd will tell his testimony, and again, I just want to make sure it comes back to where I was at during this time of, it started with standing in front of an abortion clinic to standing in front of a church, having people upset at him in the neighborhood that we're at, having our own church upset at us, a church that we have people we love, etc. Over time, I think I just dealt with it. I felt that Todd is my husband. Todd loves God. I trust that he wouldn't do anything to hurt my family. He loves me. He loves my daughter. He loves his sons. He loves our family. So you can tell yourself that more and more and more and convince yourself it's going to be okay. And you know what? God was in control. The problem is that I didn't understand God. And I did not understand where God was taking us. Nor did I want to understand, because it was bigger and scarier than I ever could imagine. And so as I saw Todd continue on in listening to God, doing what God was telling him to do, I continued going to church, continued to say, you know what, Todd, if you want to go out in front of churches and stand out in front of them, you can go with you and Micah and Andrew, our 2 sons, but I don't want my daughter out there. And so her and I would go to church. And we'd go to church, and Todd and the sons would stand out in front of the church. And as I would drive by, I would wave at them and tell them I love them. And I was being supportive. I was being the wife I felt I needed to be. And I was getting fed at the church, and my crazy husband was standing over there in front of another church protesting. He ended up being in the news, ended up people calling left and right. And again, here I am going to church, going to my job, coming home. Todd's doing all this wonderful stuff out there following God. He wants to share everything that God's telling with him during the day when I come home from work. And I, for a while, listen, hear it, but God and Todd love me so much that they all saw through it. And I know they saw through it because Todd would stop talking to me about it. And what that did was it built walls between Todd and I. And walls that just kept building. So even though on the surface of everything, we were a happy couple, we were someone who was doing God's will, on the inside, I was hurting. I was troubled because I have this husband that I love dearly that is at this point in time in my life is not the man I married. He's not the guy that I thought I was going to live my Christian life with. So during that time, again, I'll keep saying this, I did not know God. And I felt that it was best for me to walk away because I didn't know how to deal with it. So it is a time in my life, there's parts of me that regret it. There's parts of me that I'll explain that I don't regret. And the parts I do regret is that I hurt my family because I decided that it was better for me to take my daughter and me and tell Todd that this is not the life I want. I don't want my family in jeopardy. I don't want a husband that is out there getting verbally abused, etc. And we did get kicked out of a church. So there we have now, I don't even have a church to go to. So I shut down. I shut down and said, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be married. This is not what I signed up for. God is good. God did not let me go. God did not let our marriage go. I had a lot of people in the pro-life movement, and I will say that because I know it's true, that told Todd to leave me. It's hurtful because those are Christian people that were behind us earlier. So he didn't. The wonderful man he is, decided that he was going to quit all ministry and work on our marriage. I know for a fact that if he wouldn't have done that, we wouldn't have made it. Because I needed him to put me first for once. And he did. Now, was it easy? No. There was months and months of counseling, months and months of where do I belong in God's kingdom? Where do I belong in this marriage? Where do I belong in Todd's life? And God continued to work on me every day. I cried every day. I talked to him every day. I thought, Lord, this is not what I want to be. I told you at the very beginning, do not make me a pastor's wife. Don't do it. I told Todd that, don't make me a pastor's wife. And so, well, he didn't do that. He did not make me a pastor's wife, but guess what? He started making me an abolitionist wife, which I'm not sure which one was worse at the time, but I know now that I'm not only an abolitionist wife, that this day I'm an abolitionist. It took me many, many, many years to feel that, and it's been gradual. It's been very gradual. Okay, honey, I'm going to sit in the car and I'll pray for you, while you're standing out there at the abortion clinic. Okay, I'll sneak out, and I'll stand out there with you, but let me make sure this is right. And time after time, God would show me that it's right. The main part of me wanting to share what we went through is that I know that there are wives, that there are mothers out there that have, either at the conference or not at the conference, that have abolitionist men out doing his work that may or may not feel the same way that I have, even if it's just a portion of it. And knowing that God is in this, and that it is okay to feel scared. It is okay to feel like the world's against us, and we're trying to protect our family as a mother, as a wife, and that it's okay because God will bring you through that. God has done nothing but blessed us, nothing but protected us. I have full confidence that the Lord is over my family when my kids are out playing, when I'm at work, etc. But again, based on the talk that we're going to have in priorities, going back to that time, if, again, Todd would not have put me first and my family first, we would not have made it. And so that was a priority he needed to put in place. And we grew together, we talked about it, and him as a man and a woman, he doesn't do anything now unless we talk about it first. Any abolitionist work, am I comfortable with it? And if I say I'm not comfortable with it, it doesn't happen until I say, okay. That's not me in power, that's not me in charge. That's because my husband, the head of our house, cares about me and cares about this family. But that may have never happened if God didn't have to wham us one and say, hey, your marriage is going to fail unless you guys work this out. And we both had to work on it, but I had a lot of work to go through, and I'm happy where we are today. There is parts of me that feel guilty at times, and I'm not out more, I'm not out doing more than I can. But I also know God has told me this over and over, that I am here. Again, the support of my husband is now different. It's not the support like, go do what you're going to do, and I'll be here to support you, because obviously that did not work. The support today, and will be in the future, is I will support you, honey. I will pray for you. I will be here for you. And guess what? Your home, your wife, and your kids will be here when you get home. Because my role today is to take care of my family. And when I'm out in the world and I can be next to his side, being to tell people about saving their babies, to don't murder them, and that there are foster kids out there to help, and the assistance side, and I am all over that helping. But I know that God has me exactly where he wants me to be, and that is raising this family to love God, to learn how to do God's will, whatever that may be, wherever God calls us to be. And right now, God's calling us out there to be abolitionists, to talk to the people of this world about God. And I see our family transitioning into a family that is different, and is so different than the rest of our neighborhood and the rest of people around us. But God's in control, and God is the one that is moving us. And so I thank Him for that. I thank Him for all the people that are with us, that are supportive of us. And for the last 10 years has been a roller coaster ride, but we are in the best place we've ever been in our life, and has nothing to do with financial, has nothing to do with having good jobs. It's just my family is set, they're happy, Todd and I are happy. There's no walls up. It's very open communication, and God's in control. God's the lead.